Timer started. Good evening. I want to, first of all, I think everybody in the room knows who I am, but I am the sheriff that you elected 3 years ago to come in here and clean up Trinity County. And as I go through the community, I can't find one person that tells me that they don't see the huge difference that we've made in the last 3 years. And I appreciate y'all's support this last time. I'm asking for your support this time. But I want to kind of tell you some of the things we've accomplished and tell you some of the things that we're looking forward to doing. Now, some of the things we've accomplished so far is when I first took office, the county was having to borrow about $600,000 a year just to get through and pay their bills, okay? Most of that was just complete mismanagement of the jail, all right? So what we did the first year when I was in office, and I was only in there for 3/4 of the fiscal year, but I think we ended up borrowing around $300,000 that year. Second year I was in office, we borrowed $0, and this year we had a surplus in our county budget. Now that's a savings of about $1 million in this county, and most of that was just how we went about doing that was I went to Commissioner's Court and I talked to them, and we renegotiated contracts with the jail we were at. We went from $40 a day to $32 a day. I went to Commissioner's Court, asked them to buy me a van so we could start transporting our own deputies, our own inmates. That wouldn't be good. But we started transporting our own deputies. I mean, transport deputy. We hired a transport deputy. We started transporting our own inmates back and forth. And then we started keeping 7 inmates in the jail there, and we started using them on the trustee program. The commissioners, if y'all will live out in the precincts, you see the commissioners using these trustees out picking up trash on the side of the roads, cleaning out culverts and stuff like that. This saves countless dollars, tax dollars, that you don't really see because this is just maintenance, and it's what you're saving without spending. And we put that together. We took the inmates, we seized some property. We've seized several properties since I've been in office. Worked with the district attorney, Benny Shiro. Everybody knows him. He's been great to work with. But we seized properties. One of the seizures was a drug trafficker's property in Groveton. It was 5 acres. We took that, we turned it into a county farm. Now our inmates that go to Trinity, to stay in our jail in Groveton, we use them. They have to maintain the farm aside from going out on the work crew, and they have to grow their own food. If they didn't grow it, they're not going to eat it unless it's stuff like sugar, flour, stuff like that we can't grow. So they have to grow their own stuff. We're teaching them things. We're rehabilitating them that way. They work 6 days a week. They sleep right. And they go to church on Sundays. And it's been a great program, but don't see a revolving door. Now, patrol and coverage in the county, crime is down 25% in this county since I took office. Now that's because we worked with great First year in office, there was 800 crimes reported. This year, we had a little over 600. Burglaries are down 50%. Burglaries are down 50%. Crimes down 25. And we have an 87% solve rate of our crimes in this county. That is unheard of. When I took office, the year before, so I don't got but 30 seconds left because he's sitting over here pointing at me and shut up. But anyways, there's a lot of things that we've got. That's the bell. Anyways, I humbly ask for your vote, your continued support. I want to be your sheriff for 4 more years, and I can't do it without you getting out and voting for me. Thank you.
Sheriff Wallace. Yes, we have, and this would be the envelope. No, you're drawing. They're drawing their own questions tonight. Yeah.
Read it or me?
No, you read it.
I can make it up. They can't.
I'll read it. Okay, it says, what are you going to do in your next term that is different from what you have been doing? Oh, no, you got to go. I'm sorry.
All right, well, one of the things that we're trying to change that we've done last year, when I first took office, animal control is a huge problem in this county. Everybody just dumps their dogs on the side of the road. The sheriff is responsible for those animals. So we have to do something with them. The state has their guidelines and requirements. The first thing we did is we built us a shelter. It passed inspection, but then since then they changed the rules. It's come back and said, oh, it ain't going to work, you got to build another one. So the commissioners give me money to build another one this year. But working with Benny's assistant, if y'all don't know his assistant DA, He's come to me and said, look, I know this group in Colorado that would love just about every dog that y'all pick up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start picking these animals up. Through donations, we're going to keep the dogs longer than 3 days because the law says in 3 days, if you don't get rid of or find the owner, you need to go ahead and put them down. The county can't continue to feed them and pay for them because we don't have the room. So we're going to do our best to make a no-kill shelter, and we're going to start trying to send these animals to Colorado. There's a truck that's supposed to come around. Through donations, we're going to feed these animals a little longer time and give them more time so we can get them placed somewhere, and then we're going to ship the animals up. And that right there is a huge expense to the county because I think we've got budgeted like $5,000 or $6,000 to take care of animals. We go over that every year, taking care of these animals. Well, we were before, but this year, in the last few years, I sent a deputy to school to learn how to take care of these animals, do euthanization if we have to do that. Instead of paying $35 per animal, it's only costing us $5. But we're trying to get out of that game. We're trying to get to where we can take these animals and place them in a good home somewhere because a lot of these are good animals. People just drop them off and dump them. It costs us a lot of money through some donations. It shouldn't cost the taxpayers a dime, more than what we already put in the budget for these animals. And we're going to build another shelter, one that's back to state specs, and we're going to start shipping these animals somewhere to a home that they can go to.
Oh, you got the big one here. What are you going to do? Okay. Got to share this microphone here. What are you going to do in your next term to help the repeat offenders to change the path they are on? So many of these people have diminished capacity and are preyed upon by those criminals who are higher up the food chain. Continuing to arrest them week after week is doing no good.
I agree. I agree. Arresting these guys over and over don't do any good. But unfortunately, they get lawyers and they can beat the system and they can get out of jail and they can pay a bond and we can't keep them there. I will tell you this, working with Benny Shiro over the last 3 years, we've sent 195 people to TDC. That's 195. That's more people that's been sent to TDC in this county in the last 20 years combined. Thanks to that man right over there. I think it was about 1,400 years, 1,200 years total if you combined everything together. Now, that's obviously not what you're wanting to hear here, but we have you got certain laws you got to follow. Certain crimes require certain punishments. Some of them start out with they get probation automatically. There's nothing else you can do to give them probation. Our district judges, we have one here tonight. When they mess up on that probation, they're going to TDC. They got their chance. When they mess up, I think they get one chance to mess up, and the second time they're gone. All right. So, but back to what I was doing. So I kind of answered what I was talking about is we have the farm. And we are taking these guys, we're showing them how to grow their own food, we're putting them in church, they go to church on Sundays, they get to know these people. The church over in Groveton, which is Brother Jones's church, he's here somewhere, I saw him walk in the room, there he is. I want to thank him so much for allowing these guys to come to his church, because he's opened them up with he's opened his arms, taking these guys in. I can tell you, the ones that go and they stay any length of time in the Groveton jail as a trustee and they spend much time with him, very few of them have I ever seen come back through. That is tremendous right there because our turnaround rate in this state is extremely high. They just come right back into TDC. You know, they can get 10 years and people get mad at the district attorneys and the judges because they get a 10-year sentence. And a 10-year sentence, in some cases, may not even be 2 years in TDC. I can tell you one instance where one guy was sentenced to 8 years before we got the paperwork in and him sent to TDC, which normally takes about a month. We got a letter from the parole board saying, we got a letter from the state saying send him to TDC on Monday, and on Tuesday he had a meeting with the parole board already. That is a problem, and that cannot be addressed at a local level. That's going to have to be addressed at a state level because our legislators are going to have to start taking this parole business a little more seriously. Quit letting these guys back on parole. It does not work. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work. Parole warrants cost our county a lot of money when they violate their terms of parole. We lock them up. It may take 6 months, 9 months for them to the parole board to come hear these people, and they just like, oh, okay, we'll let you go. And so if they committed the crime in Houston, Harris County, and they got in trouble in Harris County, they got sentenced in Harris County, what happens is they come to Trinity County and they get caught, it's on our dime that we got to keep them and punish them for something that they committed somewhere else. So that's got to stop. Other programs, of course, Benny's pretty much got this down, is where if they're repeat drug offenders and they got a drug habit, there's some such thing called safety. A lot of these guys go to that. But what I can't personally just take over and rehabilitate these people. I don't have the facility. I got 7 people in my jail. So our best thing to do is let these guys know that when you commit a crime in Trinity County, we're going to catch you. We're going to prove it. You're going to go to prison, or you're going to get your time somewhere. And the whole part about preventing crime is in Trinity County and in other counties alike, when people get in trouble and you've got a son or a little brother or a nephew and he sees uncle out there dealing dope, robbing banks, and nothing happens to him, he's going to grow up and do the same thing. Okay? So when they're starting to see now that there's consequences to crime in Trinity County and they violate the law, and my uncle went to prison for 10 years for dealing dope or stealing from grandma or whoever he stole from, this little boy is going to grow up with a whole lot different attitude in life. So we have to start not just rehabilitating the ones that are older, because they're pretty much gone. You can't, that's why we have repeat. They're not going to change. Most of them, unless they get their heart right, they're not going to change. So we have to start with the grade school kids. We have to get with these kids, tell these kids that the police aren't bad people. And we've got to let them know that whenever you mess up as an adult, you're going to be held accountable. I've also gone to schools and we got to put discipline back in our schools, because we don't have discipline in our schools. I have been to the school board. I've been to the school board in Trinity. Trinity this year started implementing the corporal punishment again. You've got to teach these kids to respect their teachers, their parents. I can't tell you how many times we get calls from single mothers, call us to come out there and deal with their unruly child. We had one yesterday, an 8-year-old little boy, that we had to go out there because his mom couldn't get him to sit in the car. He jumped up out of the car and started hitting her in the head. Now that's crazy. This little boy hasn't had any discipline in his life, and he hasn't learned how to respect adults. Until we start teaching them to respect adults, law enforcement, teachers, parents, their elders, we're going to continue to see this problem get worse. So we're going to start with the kids. The older ones, we'll do what we can with, which is not very much. But the younger ones, we're going to let them know that there is consequences to your crime, to your actions. And when they learn that, I believe we're going to have a whole lot less crime in the next 5, 10, 15 years when these kids get older. Thank you.